Oh, that's me. Hey there, kiddos. It's Uda. I should really come up with something more interesting to say at the beginning of my videos, because if you don't know it's Uda by now, you're either new or you have like chronic amnesia, short term, no short. Anyway, let's moving right along. Today I have a needle felting tutorial for you guys, so I hope you are all excited and ready. We are going to be making this Pokéball keychain. Real cute, and it's a really simple project for beginners. I thought I've been doing some more complicated stuff, and I should probably start with something a little bit more simple. Now, the reason that I say this is more simple is because it is not completely made out of felt. The core of it is made out of melamine foam, which is generally referred to as magic eraser sponges, and that can really help you get some shapes and stuff without needing to really sculpt the wool itself, so that you can kind of practice getting the right texture down and not have to worry so much about making the shapes. It definitely is a little bit, whoops, should stop playing with this. It's definitely a little bit easier, and when you finish something this way, especially as a beginner, you definitely feel a lot more accomplished, because it can be really easy to underfelt a complicated sculpture. But with this, it's just, you watch the video, trust me, it's super easy. I'm gonna do a few videos of tutorials of things like this, so that we can get you guys really, you know, familiar with the basics and have some projects that you can make that are pretty foolproof. Not completely, but pretty foolproof. So I hope you guys are excited for this little series of beginner felting projects. If you're new here, by the way, my name's Uda. You can call me Uda. You can call me Uds. You can call me Udahara. You can call me Hey Weird Lady with the odd hair. I don't. But if you are new here and maybe you found me a little bit interesting, weird, or you know, maybe you like to learn a little bit about needle felting, art, you know, what have you, feel free to drop a subscription, leave a like, and do a comment. It absolutely helps me out so much in growing my channel, and that is something that is really important to me right now. So I could probably keep talking about all sorts of dumb stuff, but let's not extend this more than it needs to be. So let's get felting! Are you ready to felt? Felt! Maybe a little bit too hardcore. No, you know what? You can't get too hardcore for needle felting. I have a thing with like 3 needles that I stab into wool until it does what I say. That is metal. Alright guys, let's get into the project. So, as I said before, the basic core of this project, you are going to need a magic eraser sponge, melamine foam. You can get it off Amazon. You can get them from pretty much any store for like $1 for like a 2-pack. My mom tends to pick them up at the dollar store for me and gets like a 2-pack for $1, so they're really handy. And yeah, so you're definitely gonna need that. And then since we are doing a Pokeball today, we're gonna need red wool, white wool, and black wool. And if you would like to make it into a keychain like me, you're going to need a little keychain hardware, some string. I used the same color as the red wool that we're using for the top of the Pokeball, so that it's not that noticeable. And you're gonna need a needle to do the sewing. Of course, you're going to need your felting needles, your felting mat, and finger protection. Super important. So, now that we've gone over the basic materials, let's get into the nitty-gritty, hokey pokey, turn it all about. That's what we're gonna felt. You do the felty, you do the stabby. I'm in a weird mood today, and that's what it's all about. So to start out with, I took my magic eraser sponge. I cut it in half lengthwise, and then I cut it in half widthwise so that it is flatter and a little square. Then I take a little circle template and I draw a circle onto it for a Pokeball, and I cut it out with an X-Acto knife. If you don't have a circle template, that's fine. Just draw a circle, you know, find something that's round. Anything works. Now we're going to get our felting supplies out. We're going to start out with our white wool, our needles, our finger protection, obviously, and our felting mat. Now we're going to take a little bit of that white wool and break it up in between our fingers, pull it apart a little bit, and we are going to start attaching it to our circle. The same way that you normally felt, just stab the wool into the foam. I got a little bit too much wool there, so take a little bit off. But yeah, we're just going to wrap the circle in the wool, stabbing as we go, and slowly we're going to get a nice little round white circle. Alright, now that we have our white circle nice and felted, good and smooth, all the wool is real well stabbed in there, we're going to start on the red half of the Pokeball. So get a little bit of red wool, spread it out between your fingers, and start stabbing it on half of the ball. Personally, I like to lay it across and stab along the edge where the two colors are going to meet. That way I can get it attached and a nice clean line. Then I'm going to wrap it around the back and do the same thing. Once I feel like it's attached and I have a nice clean line between the white and the red, I am just going to start felting it all over with the needles like we did before until it is nice and firm and smooth. Alright, we've got our red half and our white half nice and fully felted. It looks like one piece, which is awesome. We're going to start on the round white button on the front of the Pokeball. So we're going to take a very small bit of white wool, and I am going to take a single needle and stab it in a little bit to get it attached. Then I'm going to use another little circle template. Don't worry if you don't have one, you can just draw a little circle on a piece of paper and cut out the inside, make your own little template, or just do it without it. I just happen to have these, so I figured why not. So I'm going to stab it through the template and make a nice little circle shape, being careful not to poke the edges because it's plastic. And yeah, just make a little circle right in between where the red and the white sections of our Pokeball meet, and felt it until it is nice and firm and attached. All right, now that our button is done and firmly attached to the front of our Pokeball, we're going to start working on some of the detailing. So take a nice thin little piece of black wool and a single needle, and we are going to go around the outer edge of that little button that we just made. Just stab that wool in around. If you need to go back, I'm going to take it halfway around and then layer it back on itself so I can get a nice thick black line. And if you run out with that little piece of wool that you have, just grab a little bit more and keep going around the button until it is firm and secure and it is to the thickness that you personally desire. Okay, we have the black outline around the button finished. We are going to work on the separation between the red and white parts now. So get another little piece of black wool and start to stab it in and attach it where you made the outline for the button. And then just slowly follow the line where the red and white wools meet and stab it in. Go around the edge and onto the back. If you need a little bit more wool, just grab another little wisp and add it in. Keep going until the line is firm, feels like a part of the whole piece. It should feel like it's all one material, like it's made of one thing, like a plush or something, you know? It shouldn't feel like a bunch of wool that's smushed together. You want it to feel very solid and together. Keep going and add more wool until the line is the width that you personally think looks good. Now the black lines are finished. We are going to work on the little button inside of the larger button. So get a really small piece of white wool and kind of break it up and tangle it between your fingers. Put it in the middle of that button that we made earlier and start stabbing it in a circle. I'm using the template again, but you don't have to. It's no big deal. Just take a single needle and stab it and make a little circle inside of the larger circle. If you need, go ahead and add a little bit more wool. Poke at it until it is nice and firm. Once you are happy that the little center button is firmly attached, we are going to go back in with another little teeny wisp of black wool, and we are going to outline that little tiny button that we just made. So the same way that we did before, get your little wisp of wool, take a single needle, and just start stabbing it in around the edge of that inner smaller button. If you have too much wool, you can go ahead and pull some off. If you don't have enough, just get another little wisp and stab it in and keep going around until it is a width and thickness that you think looks good on your Pokeball. Okie dokie, guys, we're into the home stretch. Now, if you want, you can just leave it as is and have a cute little felty plush Pokeball to, you know, do whatever you want with. They're actually really nice for cleaning phone screens and computer monitors. The wool is really soft, so it doesn't scratch it up. But we are going to turn this one into a keychain. So get your keychain hardware, your red string or thread, and a sewing needle. I am going to take the needle and I'm not going to make a knot in the bottom or anything. I am going to stab it in just above the black line on the back of the Pokeball. And then I am going to poke it up through the top where we're going to attach the keychain. Make sure you leave some of the string hanging out where you stuck the needle in. And then all you're going to need to do is loop it through the bottom link of the keychain and keep looping it through a few times depending on how thick and strong your thread is. Once you feel that it is nice and firmly attached, we're going to tie a little knot up there in it and make sure it's secure, and then stick the needle back in where next to where we tied that knot and pull it out back through where we initially put the needle in down by the black line. And then pull it really tightly and cut the string. When you do that, the excess little tails of the thread are going to get sucked back up inside, so they will just disappear. And there you have it, guys! Your very own homemade, awesome, wool felted Pokeball keychain. Thank you guys so much for watching and joining me in this project. It means the absolute world to me. Remember, if you haven't, drop that subscription, leave a like, and comment on what kind of felting project you'd like to see me do in the future, like a specific Pokemon or an Animal Crossing character. Anything you think is cool, drop down in those comments and I just might make it for you. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one. Later.